Hello guys and welcome by this week's game development challenge, and I started this week by seeing the theme. And it had to be something around the idea of a maze, or to be exact, a maze generator. So I started thinking, and pretty soon I made the idea of a snake character within the maze, and it has to find the right position. Maybe with that it still had to find all the candy or whatever. And I started to think, what is the core of this concept? So, the core of concept in a snake game is that you grow if you pick up a candy. But if you are going to do that within a maze, it can be that you are actually blocking the only exit, so that is not going to be the right thing. So, probably, if you are going to use the candy, we are going to use it as a penalty. But we can also use the size of the snake, the start size, not only with 3 body parts or whatever you want to call it, but to have it as difficulty. So I didn't know yet that I was going to use it in the end, but well, something like that is probably going to be awesome. So I played around with it with the start size, and in the end it was going to be 50 body parts. And before actually creating the game, I already saw a big problem with the creation of this game, and that is that with a maze you only have one exit. And with this kind of game you don't want one exit, because if you do the wrong path in the start of the game, you can never win this maze anymore. Which basically means that it isn't going to be fun for the player. So that is kind of sad, and we have to fix that. So one way to do that is to say only 90% of all the walls in the end will still be standing, all the others will be destroyed. So you don't have one path but multiple paths on each place in the maze itself. And so, for example, if the difficulty is 0.5, it means half of the walls will still be standing and half of the walls will be destroyed. So that was the end of the idea of that the difficulty would be the length of the snake itself. And I had a core concept, so I could start working. And I started also thinking a little bit more about the candy, and I was thinking, well, let's just make it that you will prioritize the pets. So they're just spent random within the world, but also it makes sure that you will prioritize pets. Which basically means that if I want to, and I didn't do it in the end, I could guide the player towards the right path. Because all those mazes aren't really that hard, but otherwise I could use that to make sure that players wouldn't be lost forever. So there isn't that much modeling and texturing inside this week's challenge. So let's talk a bit about the generation of the maze, and that was the first 2 days of working on this challenge. So maybe you guys are interested in how this works, I don't know for sure, but probably there will be a tutorial about it soon, and also something more about all the algorithms that you can use, but that's a whole other video. But here's it very quickly explained if you already want to create something like this. And the very first step is just to create a grid with all the walls already inside the game. And actually you don't necessarily already have to show the walls to the player. It can also just be a list of all the positions where the walls will be in the end. But because I wanted to show the player that the PC was working on something, I just added it that you could see the grid being removed, all the walls of the grid, and you could just slowly see a path coming from the begin point to the end point and all the other paths. So you got the grid. Anyway, you start with the start square, and that's the left down square, and there is just going to be it will just choose a random direction, so that can be only up or right, because all the other squares are outside the actual maze. And it will just do that forever and ever and ever. Just pick a random direction, and it needs to be a direction where it can be going, so don't outside the maze, and also some place where it hasn't been before. And at some point it will probably get lost in itself. So for example, if you got kind of like a snake kind of figure, you can see that in the end you cannot go anywhere anymore because all the squares around it are used. So we'll go back one, you would just check, well, can you use any other squares around this one that aren't being used, and it will do it again. And if it will have there a dead end, it will go back and will try to do it again, and it will go so on. And then you just got a maze and every square is used. So that's the basic algorithm, and I will in another tutorial explain it a little bit better so you can actually just use it within your own game, but that's not really the main part of this video. So anyway, let's go towards the next step, and that is adding graphics towards the game. So until now I just had placeholders, just a few basic cubes, and as you can see, the movement of the snake is a bit retro. It isn't really fluently and isn't like next gen graphics or whatever, so we have to embrace its style of retro or something, whatever you want to call. So, well, a bit slow movement, and that will just suddenly go towards the next place. And also that's a bit about the design of the game, to make sure you can't actually just jump straight into walls, but also every time you go left, right, up, forward, you will always go inside a path, or maybe just well straight into the wall, but then it's really your own fault and not the game's fault. And that's really important. So it's going to be a kind of blocky, and I think that fits the style. And also I added a little trail renderer, which makes it a little bit more fun to see. But you didn't really see it until I added the up and down movement of the body parts. But in the end that looked very awesome, like a kind of energy pulse or whatever. And I just kept the style of the body when creating the head of the snake, but it wasn't really anything special. And for the candy I just reused the same body model but with different colors. So we almost got all the graphics, only the wall and the floor has left. And I had kind of struggles with the wall, because at the start I wanted to do like a modern sci-fi environment. In the end I want something more like a cave, but the problem with the cave is that it's kind of rocky, which means that, well, a lot of space is used by the walls itself. And we had to make sure that you can actually see where you want to go and things like that. So there was a lot of trouble making sure there was a perfect balance between the size of the wall and also making sure that it will still look like a wall. In the end, I was happy about the result, but I wasn't that happy because it still felt, well, a little bit not really like a rock wall. But due to the time limit, I had to go on. So I went towards the floor. In the floor, I just tried a lot of things. In the end, nothing really looked good until I just did by accident an ice texture, and really looked like it was just, well, it had to be like this. So in the end, it looks awesome. So that was that. So now we are going to make sure that the flow is inside the game, and I didn't record it because it was very, very annoying to watch and also to do, because you just change a little bit of a value and just check, is this a little bit better, a little bit worse, and so on. So, but we're going just over all the graphics. So very first we got the dirt overlay. So this is from the standard assets. I really didn't have time to do it myself, but just by adding this, you got the feeling you're inside a cave. And just for the player, it adds a little bit towards the flow. Also, the image effects make sure you see it as a snake, or at least what people sometimes expect if you are watching like an animal or whatever. So the screen effects and the dirt already made that possible. So you felt like a snake. We already talked about the up and down movement of the snake, which also makes that it was a creature that was alive, which is very important. And adding those explosion kind of things when you hit the candy and when you hit the wall, together with the sound, really made it feel like, oh boy, I did something. But with the use of the, kind of cartoonish boing on the side of the wall, it made sure that even though you died, you were still kind of happy about it, because it was kind of funny. Even though in the end, I couldn't really spend like hours and hours to perfect it. So it isn't that good, but good enough. And the eating sound, that's maybe fun for you guys to know, was made by combining 3 different sound effects. A snake attack sound, a watermelon eating thing, I think it was a human eating it, and it was some other small fruit stuff. And just those combined, you got the feeling that the snake was eating a candy. At least that was my assumption. Anyway, the only thing we had to do was the creation of the main menu. That was very, very simple. Also, as you can see, I just used the default font and things like that, just for time limit. And I really hope you guys like this week entry. So I see you guys next week. I hope with another challenge, and otherwise that week after that. Bye!